is something that's, I think is befitting for the times that we live in here in 2024. Boy, when there's so much going on in our world, supercharged, that has people at odds, that have people confused, that have people um, not at peace with themselves, not at peace with each other. We see an epidemic of sickness and pain and poverty and lack, strife. They say it's one of the most polarized times in the history of our nation and probably of our world. It's almost like we're not evolving into love. We've made great strides in technology. We've made great strides in medicine. We've made so many advancements where human performance is concerned in art, in the arts, in science, in entertainment. I mean, man has made some great advancements where it concerneth external things. But when it comes to internal things, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to living in harmony and living in peace, when it comes to demonstrating our better selves, demonstrating our love nature, we seem to be lacking and we seem to be behind. We seem to be more accommodating for being divided and being separate and being at odds and isolating ourselves and holding on to ideas that no longer serve us. I made a statement earlier in some of my postings about it is time for all of us to do the inner work, to do the self-inquiry, to determine whether we're coming from a place of love or whether we're coming from a place of fear. Because we know that love is our nature. And when we come from a place of love, when we come from that place of love, it's good in it for everyone. But when we come from a place of fear, then we know that the results of that will lead to separation, torment, dis-ease, destruction, and all other kinds of unloving expressions, suffering and pain, right? And so our goal here is to help humanity to free himself from the self-imposed, fear-based thinking, which leads to action that is self-defeating. Self-defeating to the one who thinks and acts from a place of fear, as well as self-defeating to the ones that are being oppressed, to the ones that are being attacked. Right? So it's about eliminating the fear, being released from the spirit of fear. and waking up to the one love that we all share. That is what we are about here at Truly Foundation. We are about helping all humanity to return to their first love. You know, here in 1 John, I'm going to read a couple scriptures here in 1 John. The Bible is one of the references we use to teach this and to share these messages. And it says in 1 John 4:7, it says, "Beloved, let us love." I'm in 1 John 4:7. It says, "Beloved, be loved." See that? Be loved. Why? Because love is who we are. Love is what we are. And here the writer starts out by saying, just be that. This is your natural state of being, is love. Our natural state of being is love. Our creator name is love. God is love. See? When scripture says that God is love, that's what he's letting us to know. If you ever really want to know the name of God, it is love. And you notice that love is universal. It don't cause division or separation. All of us can agree that love is good, that love is kind, that love is patient, that love is what? Long-suffering, that love seeketh not its own. It's not easily provoked, but that love is good. And so here, the writer starts out by saying, be loved. Listen, a lot of us have grown up in a home. We've grown up in relationships. We've grown up even in a culture where love was not the motivation, where love was not even understood, let alone put on display or taught. A lot of us, even to this day, have a problem saying, I love you, or even I am love. We don't see ourselves as love. We don't have that perception. We don't have that intuitive knowing that is who we are and that is what we are. And so we find ourselves always searching for the very thing that we are, searching for love. And so let's just, and that's why I like this particular passage of scripture where it says, be loved. I mean, it can't get any more direct than that. You can only be something that you are. And so the writer here is telling us that we are love. So be that. That is our natural inheritance. That is our natural habitat. That's where our light shines, when we are being loved. And to be loved includes being loving and lovable. And it comes natural to us. And where it's not coming natural, something has gone wrong. And what has gone wrong is that we have embraced an idea of fear and have replaced the falsehood of fear for the reality of love. So there must be a what? There must be a transformation. There must be a shift. First of all, in our thinking, which will affect how we feel, which will affect the actions that we take. So if we don't get anything else out of this message today, if we're really desiring healing and wholeness, if we're really desiring that place of rest, that place of peace, that place of joy, that place of creation, of creating, that place of adventure, it comes as we accept the reality of our love, the reality of our nature, the reality of our essence, which is love. This is who and what we are, all of us, equally. Love will heal the entire world. Love will solve all humanity's problems. Money can't solve humanity's problem. Things that we've made, they don't bring a permanent resolve to humanity's problem. There's only one thing. There's nothing wrong with money or things. But when they are used, right, and motivated by love, they become but tools to put love on display and to cause love to shine and to cause others to be lifted from a place of fear to this place of love. And so, beloved, let us love one another. That's what being loved does. When we are being ourselves, when we are being our God self, when we are functioning under the name that we are, which is love. God is love, therefore we are love, right? When we are functioning in love, it says we love one another. And one of the biggest dysfunction here in 2024, all around the world, is the lack of love. And we wonder, where did we go wrong? We wonder where humanity has gone wrong. Well, the answer is right here. The failure to love one another. And the reason we fail to love one another is because we're not being loved. And the reason we are not being loved is that we have substituted love with an illusionary idea that has its roots in fear. Fear is no more than a false idea. It's not real. It's not true. It's a false idea. It's a false reality. And that's why we're so uncomfortable when we come from a place of fear. When we don't see through the eyes of love. You know, the scripture says that fear has torment. It's tormenting. It torments humanity. It causes us to not have the continuous peace that comes from love. It causes us to perceive one another from a place of separation, from a place of specialness, where we hold such ideas as superiority, where one is superior over another or better than another. So we judge based on the outer appearance. All of that comes from fear. All of that comes from fear. And we have built most of our systems based on fear. And so we see the inequity, we see the oppression, we see the damnable things that we have done to one another all through the history of humanity. Though we have evolved in other areas, like I said, but where we have not embraced and evolved, where it really counts, where there's real solution, where there's real transformation, is in the knowing of ourselves, in the discovery of the real you, which loves you, because the real you is love. So we've all been called to return to our first love. Return to our eternal nature, which is love. To return to the place that has never changed or never been altered. But we have taken a detour on the exit called fear. And boy, oh boy, what nightmares we have experienced as a species over the thousands of years. It's all documented. We all have the history of how humanity has seek to destroy one another versus love one another, how we've been instructed right here. And so if we're really going to heal ourselves, if we're really going to experience the wholeness and the unity and the oneness that we share, there has to be a return to love. And so the writer here says, let us love one another, for love is of God. The nature of God is love. The name of God is love. And so therefore, that's our nature. And we must return there. We don't have to continue to try to make something as a replacement. Nothing can replace who you are, who I am, who we are as one extension of God, one extension of love. Nothing can replace that. We can't make up anything that can bring about the joy and the happiness and the peace and the pleasures of life that has already been put in place when we were perfectly created by the Creator of love. It can't be changed. It can't be altered, regardless of what we do, what we make as a substitute. Love remain unchanged. Love remain unaltered. Who we are remain unchanged, and it remains unaltered. Just waiting for us to get off the exit of fear and back on the journey of love. That's all. Love hasn't gone anywhere. God hasn't gone anywhere. Who we are in eternity has not been changed. You are still the perfect creation of God. You are still the beloved. You are still the beloved. And so let us love one another, for love is of God. And everyone that loveth, that continues in this love nature, it says, has its beginning, has its origin. has its birth in God, and it knoweth God. And to know God is to know yourself. And to know yourself is to know God. What? As love. There it is right there. We don't have to say anything else. Because when we come from a place of love, we come from a place of oneness. We come from a place of unity. We come from a place of equality where we value all the creation of God. We value who we are. We value everything that love has created, because love is not something that you can make, but love is a creation of itself. You and your true nature is not something that you can make, even though we spend our life trying to make ourselves into being something else, only to discover that we cannot really alter what we were created to be in eternity. And so it says, he that loveth not, or he that practices not this love that they are, it says, he that loveth not or doesn't practice the love, it says, knoweth not love, or knoweth not God. For God is love. See? So when we don't practice love, when we don't practice oneness, when we don't practice unity, when we don't practice forgiveness and infinite patience toward one another, when we don't practice building one another up, it said, we knoweth not love. We knoweth not God. We knoweth not ourselves. It says, because for God is love. The nature and the name of God is love. And love is all encompassing. Love has no opposites. So when we even involve ourselves from a place of fear, a place of separation, when we delve into judging one another by body identification, when we judge one another by our gender, our nationality, by our politics, by who's our favorite entertainer or sports icon, or all these things, all these ideas of specialness that causes us to see ourselves different than our brother, and cause us to love less our brother. In truth, we're loving less ourselves. We're not being loved. We're not beloved. And it's not that we've changed it. We're just not experiencing our true nature. We have tried to substitute loveliness with fear. And it's not fun. It's not comfortable. We don't enjoy it. You want to understand why there's so many people that are without joy in life. So many disgruntled people, so many frustrated people, so many people that are confused and doing things that are unthinkable. This is the reason why. They have lost their memory of who they are, or have not discovered who they are as love. And so they identify themselves by their religion, or by their politics, or by their gender, or by their race, or by who they love or how they love. We judge it. We get into this entire game of judgment, which has its motivation in fear. And in judgment and in fear, we're not comfortable. We're not at peace. And so we seek to find comfort and peace by projecting our fears, projecting that uncomfortableness on someone else. That creates all kind of divisiveness and division. But it's not the solution. It only reinforces it in ourselves. When you project fear, when you project ideas and belief, that don't have their nature in love, we're only reinforcing it within ourselves. Not realizing that every human being is ourself, that our brother is ourself. And so what we're having for ourselves, what we're having for our brother, that we definitely wouldn't want for ourselves, we end up having for ourselves. Because love only knows one. So when we speak and when we act and when we think in diabolical ways towards others, the law of love is at work, and it works perfectly all the time, and it knows only the one. And so it thinks, the idea is, we think we're projecting this on another, and we're just basically projecting it on ourselves. So we're reinforcing the very thing that we're trying to get rid of. You don't get rid of fear by reinforcing fear or by projecting it on someone else, but you release yourself from fear by embracing the truth of who you are, which is love. We're all on this journey to awaken to that truth and that reality. So he that loveth not God, for God is love. Or he loveth not himself, for himself is love. I go down to verse 11. It says, beloved. Again, it says, beloved. Calling you out. Beloved, you are the beloved of God. You are in the beloved. Yes, you are. Doesn't matter what your past experience has been. No matter what mistakes you may have made. No matter what error that you feel that were so bad that you haven't forgiven yourself. I'm here to tell you in this moment, you remain in the beloved of God as you accept and embrace that reality. That which was a temporary error on your part is done away with immediately. It's done away immediately. Errors can be corrected immediately just through the simple shift in our perception, a simple shift in our thinking to where it happens in the twinkling of an eye, instantly. Just where you are right now, where I am right now, I can shift my perception, my interpretation. I can let go of the fearful ideas of separation, the judgments. I can become committed to love only and not be conformed to this world that has all of these made up labels that keeps us separate and divided. Most of us have, listen, in this day and time, the more I talk to people, the more they are more committed to their politics and their political party. The more they're committed to their race and their creed. They're more committed to their favorite ball team or their entertainer than they are to love. And all these other things are temporary. Even this body self we have, this body is temporary. You notice every body that comes into this world, it eventually what? It eventually goes. It eventually expires. It's temporary. So we can't place our allegiance to anything in this world of form because it is not eternal. Everything in this world, whether it's in form, it's temporary. And so it has no real foundation. The only real foundation that is eternal is love. The only real foundation that is eternal is God. Not some religious practice or religious idea or political practice or political idea. Some social, cultural idea. But the only thing that has a foundation that is sure and unshakable is love. And so at some point, we have to reevaluate where our commitment is. We have to reevaluate what our foundation is. We have to reevaluate the ideas and the beliefs that has been handed down to us from our forefathers. If they don't have their foundation in love, we need to examine those and let them go because they're not adding to the value. They're not adding to the love. They're not a reflection of the love that we share. They're not a reflection of the oneness that we share. They're not a reflection of the equality that we all share. In fact, love says, love is, and there is nothing else. Everything else is a counterfeit. Everything else is an illusion. Everything else is a phony. Everything else will not lead to peace. Everything else will not lead to joy and happiness and fulfillment. Only love. And the way that we demonstrate that love, as it says here in 1 John chapter 4, is that we're to love one another. We're to share. See, love is to be shared among each other. Fear cannot be shared. Fear is not shared. Fear is imposed, is forced. Fear is imposed upon us. It makes demands upon us for us to think a certain way and act a certain way, and normally those thinking, those thoughts, and those actions are not done and are not loving. They come in the form of attacks. They come in the form of creating a divide. They come in a form of inferiority or superiority, specialness. This group this idea, this group is against that group. It comes in the form that it creates an idea of having enemies. But there are no enemies in love. So if you hold to the idea that you have enemies, you're not holding to the idea of love. That is an idea of fear. That's a fearful idea, because when you believe that there is an enemy, and boy, oh boy, how do we shove that down humanity's throat, especially in religious community? Everything is about the enemy. And there is no enemy in love. All these fear-based doctrines, all these doctrines of devils that have gotten people in fear, where they think there's a devil on every corner. There's an enemy everywhere. That is me against the entire world. That's where fear will take you. And religion has a PhD in teaching people how to embrace the idea of an enemy. And most people who hold on to those fear-based ideas, right? They're not at peace. They're not experiencing the peace of God. So we need to examine what has been handed down to us that doesn't align with love, that doesn't align with oneness. It doesn't align with peace. We need to examine those things, and we need to relinquish those things, to release those things that don't serve us. They don't serve love. They don't advocate for us, all of us, being in the beloved. Love is all encompassing. All humanity has been given this loveliness in creation. Can you embrace that? Can you say that all is one and one is all? We're either all the beloved of God or we're not. There's no specialness in God. There's no specialness in love. There's no one religion that's better than another, or all of these ideas that we have made up that have divided us. We need to examine them. And so I'm going to finish this up. The title of my sharing today is Healing and Wholeness. Our world needs healing and wholeness. And it's not that it's already present. We just need to wake up from the idea that fear will get us there, and it won't. We need to wake up from the idea that division and war and fighting will get us there. It won't. It never have. It never will. If we're going to experience the healing and the wholeness that we are, it will come by returning to love. It will come by walking in the name of love, because that is the name of God. That is our name. That is our oneness. That is our family. Our unity is love. So, verse 11 says, Beloved, again, if God so loved us by creating, how did God so love us? How did God so love us? by extending its very own self, by giving of its very own nature, which is love, by creating all of us in the perfect love that God is. That's how. We are the perfect creation of love. We are born of God. We are in the beloved. Paul picks it up this way in Ephesians chapter 1, where he says, even before the foundation of the world, before there was any form, before there was anything in form, before any human being was given any kind of physical existence, it said it was already determined that we should be holy, and blameless before God. How? In love. So in reality, we cannot alter what God has done for us. We cannot alter our creation. We are who and what we are. We are the beloved of God. That we are holy and blameless and innocent in the presence of love, in the presence of God. And the reason that we're not experiencing that in time and among one another is because we have forgotten who we are. So we come with these messages as a reminder of who we are. And here it says, we are the beloved of God. And so if God so created us, if God so loved us, it says we ought also to love one another. There you have it, my friend. It says here, it says he lost my space. All right, here it is. Here in verse 15. Verse 16, it says, and we have known and we have believed the love that God has to us. For God is love, and he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in him. If you've never seen yourself in this manner, see it today. It is the answer. It is the thing that you've been looking for all your life. It's the thing that I discovered at some point in my life. And it's the same thing that all of us at some point will discover in our life. And it doesn't have to happen on the heels of tragedy. It doesn't have to happen when we're laying flat on our back. It can happen right now as you embrace the reality of who you are and begin to love one another. That's it, folks. And that doesn't happen from without, but it happens from within. And then our without becomes our within. We begin to share that love one with another. And in that, healing and wholeness become our lived experience. It becomes your lived experience. And then you go out into the world and you be the light of the world. Then you go out and take that love into the world and you let that love shine. You let that light shine among one another, loving one another equally, no longer judging one another, letting go of all of your grievances and all your prejudices. You want to release the pain? Release the prejudices. You want to release the anxiety and the fear? Release all of your grievances. Let them go. Forgive. And that is where the freedom lies. That's how you get unstuck and embrace the truth that is true always, that you are the perfect creation of God. Some of those traditions that were handed down to us, some of those beliefs that were handed down to us that we've been holding on to, which don't make any sense at all, that have their origin in fear, they all need to be reevaluated. And as we reevaluate them from the beloved, it will become very easy to let them go. They no longer serve us. They've never served you. And they only kept you in a place of fear. So I'm going to put a pin in it right there. Thank you so much for being with us here at Truly Foundation. We have an assignment that, as much as we try to substitute or alter the assignment, the more we'll call back to the original assignment. And that is to share these advanced realities. And it's not that they are like something new. What I've said today is already in you. It's in everyone. God has placed eternity in all of our hearts. I'm just here to remind you of who you are. I'm just here to remind you that truly the real you loves you, because the real you is love, and that you are the beloved of God. You are the beloved of love. And you know that. I know that. So we can drop all of our religious, all of our political, all of our social, all of our economic, all of these things that we have like gravitated to, looking for love. We can drop the notion that love is there and realize that the love is in us. And when we realize that the love is in us, now we can take the love. We can take the love into our politics. We can take the love into our religion. We can take the love into our entertainment, into our society. And share it and be it. So that others can awaken to their own reality, their own true self. That's the assignment. And we've all been given that assignment. We've all been called to this assignment. Jesus said it this way. He said, many have called. Oh, he said it this way. He said many, but in reality, he was talking about all. All of us have been called, but few have chosen the assignment to share. First of all, to be love, and then to share the message of love. All of us. in our own unique way. And this is my expression. So there you have it, my friends. We'll be back. Stay tuned for more of these messages as they unfold. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.